everybody. Hope you are doing well. This week we're going to do something a little different. You're watching this like in a Google Slides, and I really just did that to, I don't know, try something different and see how it goes. So we're going to talk about this thing called relative frequency and frequency tables. And before we do, relative frequency is just a ratio, so it's a fraction of some category in a table to the total of a table. Okay. And so it's just more probability. A lot of times people make these tables based on a survey they did. So this is kind of related to that thing called experimental probability that you learned about in a previous video. So it's just looking at a table and writing a ratio of a category to the total. So we're going to look down here in this example. It says the results of a survey, right? I said people do this when they're doing surveys. So the results of a survey of music preferences are in this table. So this table is called the frequency table. Okay, and it says, what is the relative frequency of rock music? So in this table, you have the survey, and it's broken down by category. So what this tells you is that 10 people said they liked rock music the best, and 7 people said hip hop, and 8 people said they liked country the best, and 5 said classical, and 4 said other. Okay, so each of these numbers are the totals for how many people like this thing the best. So since our first question is about rock music, all you have to do is you find the rock music number, which is 10. What is going on? My pen is not staying a pen, guys. It keeps turning into an eraser. Here we go, 10. So 10, and then it needs to be out of the total. So what we need to do is take all of these numbers and add them together to find the total. So let's see. That's 10. Let's see. I'm going to combine some of the things that I know, like 8 and 7 is 15. 6 and 4 is 10. So let's see, we got 10, 20, 35, another 5 would make 40. So our total is 40. So the frequency of rock music would be 10. Let's do it again. It's not going into 10. 10 out of the total, which we figured out is 40. That's all it is. You can reduce it to 1/4 if you would like, which you can write as 0.25, or you can write it as 25%. It's up to you. Any of those are fine. Okay. So let's see. So down here where it says try it, this time it says, what is the relative frequency of classical music? So you look in your table, you find classical, it says 5. So you would do 5 out of the total, which is 40, which you can reduce to 1/8 if you would like, which you could also write as a decimal, but you don't have to. Relative frequency of hip hop music, again, find your category, the number is 7. So 7 out of the total is 40. I don't think that reduces at all, so it's just 7 out of 40. And then it says, what's the relative frequency of country music? So again, you find country, it says 8. So we got 8 out of 40, which reduces to 1/5, which I just happen to know is 20%. Okay, so you don't have to write these as decimals or percents. You can leave them as fractions. However you want to do it is really fine. Okay, so there's one example. Here's another one. We're going to do number 2 and then this try it, and then that will be it. Okay, so let's see. So it says a student conducts a probability experiment, right? Again, we said this happens when you do experiments. They toss 3 coins, one right after another, using the results below. What is the probability that exactly 2 heads will occur in the next 3 tosses? So we need to think about experimental probability. 3 tosses, so 3 coins, one right after the other. Okay, so we want to find all the categories that have exactly 2 heads. This first one has 3, so it's out because that's not exactly 2. Okay. The second category says heads, heads, tails. That has exactly 2, so we're going to look at that category. The next one says heads, tails, tails, so that's out. We're looking for exactly 2 heads. Okay. Heads, tails, heads, that's a good one. Tails, heads, heads, that works, and everything else is a no. So we're going to add these together. 7 and 6 is 13, plus 2 is 15. So it's 15 out of, and just like before, we need the total number of flips. So we need to figure out what all these numbers in the table add up to. Okay, so let's see. What do we got? 5 and 7 is 12. 9 and 6 is 15. That's 11. That's 12. So 24. 24, 39, 50, I think is the total. We should check that on our calculator. Let's check that. Check this on your calculator. Okay, so I checked that on my calculator. It is 50, and then we can reduce our fraction. Both of those things divide by 5, so we'd have 3 over 10, which is like 30%. So there's a 30% chance she gets exactly 2 heads in the next 3 tosses. And then we're going to look right down here at this last one about the spinner. Let's see, it says use the results from the frequency table below to answer the question, what is the probability that the spinner is pointing at 4 on the next spin? Now, if it just said use the picture, you would say 1/4, because there's only 1 4 and there's 4 pieces. But because it says we have to use the table, right? It says use the results from the table. So in the table, we need to find the number of 4s, which was 18, and we need to put that over the total in the table. So let's add those total numbers together for frequency. You got 29 plus 32 plus 21 plus 18 is 100. So 18 out of 100, which you could write as 18%. You could reduce that to 9 over 50. However you want to write it is fine with me. So there's an 18% chance that based on this table, you get a 4 the next time you spin the spinner.